up against Fyrn Skulblaka. This should be a good one. Let's find out who takes it.
And we are live for Game 3 between Anadoluk Gaming and Fyrn Skulblaka. Both of these teams taking impressive victories, Game 1 2 respectively. This could go either way, but I'm excited once again to see the Finn out on the rise.
Yeah, it worked really well for Fyrn last time. They managed to get with the Finn and Celeste combo. In fact, they're running a very similar composition to the one that worked just previously. This time with the added benefit of having the Arden over that Grace to go with the Black Feather. So that's going to be another almost similar swap-in to aid the Black Feather in these team fights. And then they're also having the Tony, which is going to provide a bit of disengage if they need it. So they have isolation potential if his ultimate is used correctly. But also that stun and taunt, obviously going to be great at picking down an individual target and trying to set that up for BF to do well.
I feel like you have the tools on the side of Fyrn to deal with a few picks coming out of Anadoluk. The Sky, the Anka, the Samuel, these are fairly squishy heroes. You get the Tony Arden in there, you get the Black Feather Arden in there, you get all of them in there, people are gonna get popped.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Sky was picked in retaliation to the composition being worked out, a game where you have a very high mobility Black Feather being added in because he's got the Arden Gauntlet, he's got the double War Treads that will come through. And so they were thinking, well, what has more mobility as a weapon power carrier than Vox? Oh, I know, Sky. The problem I feel is that you actually have less disengage and less protection this time round. All you've got is the ultimate from the Adagio and the stun from the Catherine, as well as maybe the Oblivion, but obviously that's really easy to crucible out. I don't really know what the Anchor actually provides. The Anchor only provides something to pressure the Celeste, I guess. But it's Jungle Anchor, so she's not going to get the same gold input that she would get from the mid lane, and she might not snowball as much. But if this Anchor does snowball, if she hovers around on the outside of the team fight, she might be able to blow up the Celeste very quickly.
Is it your opinion that she has to snowball to win? We'll answer that here in a second, as there's a fight over the weapon trance. Nice Atlas, trying to drift back. Malice and Vertex connecting. Silver Skull dropping low. Healing Flask popped off. He's back. Adagio will get that kill. First blood going over to Anadoluk, so a nice start for them. But Atenix has made his way over, has boots, and Yusuf should fall. This will be the return kill. Wait, 2 kills happen there. My bad. Ava
Yeah,
one
they picked up
as well as Yusuf.
Yeah, they picked up the Catherine and the Adagio, so that was a really good collapse. And again, that was taking a fight on that side of the map where you have a strict man disadvantage. That was a very risky invade onto the weapon power buff because you know that they've got 2 members committed to their bot lane, which is obviously your top lane, and there was already 2 members returning from the mid. It doesn't take long to return from mid, to get towards that weapon power buff. That was just a risky invade to make at a man disadvantage because you had 2 guys on the bottom side of the map. It was just strictly outclassed yourself. They outplayed themselves there, Humanist.
They played themselves while outplaying themselves.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, Celeste was already able to get back, purchase items. She had boots. She was able to chase anybody down if she needed to. So she's in a great position. They've also dropped back. They've got their crystal buff. They're back in lane. Fyrn seems to be just kind of one step ahead thus far.
Yeah, and this composition seems to suit them really well. They know its strengths. Black Feather very strong in the early game, as well as scaling quite well into the late game. You know, that's one of the differences between Black Feather and Kensei, because I often feel that Kensei is just a better version of Black Feather sometimes. But you've got to remember that Black Feather actually does have a bit of early game with that execute on board and actually having the shield early on as well with his on point. So Black Feather is decent in the early game, and so you have to respect him in these skirmishes. It looks like the side of Anadoluk were not respecting him on that weapon power invade, and they got punished pretty heavily with a big taunt coming out from Tony as well. It was a really crucial taunt to keep them in place to allow that Celeste and Finn to join the fight too.
Yeah, I feel like the Black Feather, he requires more focus on taking specific fights and execution on engaging. Like, if you pick the proper time to start a fight on Black Feather, it's almost impossible to deal with him. Like, if you're fighting around cooldowns or you see an opening, you get on the target. But as you said, it can feel pretty weak. Like, if you just jump in, the Sables are able to land. If you have to use Rose Offensive for like a predictable stun to come out, something you didn't wait to go on cooldown, then it can fall really flat.
Hey, absolutely. The one thorn that the Anadoluk roster have to put in the side of Fyrn is that Anchor. She is going to threaten the Celeste. Do you remember the one problem that Anadoluk had in the previous game that they might have a remedy to in this game is they didn't really have anybody to pressure Celeste in the backline. Like, they couldn't dive. They had no one that had the burst damage necessary for her. This time round, they do have the anchor. She could get to that backline pressure the Celeste with a good A into B combo, then obviously her ultimate will be able to clear things up while she resets. That is one thing that you'll need to keep an eye on. Nice Atlas, though, this time switches to mid lane. Sephora, body blocking for the Celeste there. No one's going to go down, I think, Humanist, but it is the pressure that Samuel will put on a Celeste this early in the game. He does spike better at these mid levels than the Celeste does.
Yeah, they did a great job there, and Attendix moves over. Leo, he's got the crystal strand, and while he dropped down low, they were holding the healing flask, so he regens up. He's still in fighting shape. He should be able to hold the lane down here as Finn backs to base and makes his way back out. In the meantime, Silver Skull and Glader drop down. They will take the double camp, so a nice little invade from Fyrn there, a nice efficiency. They'll take the healing treant as well. There is a collapse from Anadoluk towards top. Death from above stuns up Silver Skull. And he's actually able to get back with that bada boom, reposition himself, and he's out of that one.
Yeah, good disengage. And that aggressive maneuver from Samuel as go towards their CP buff was there simply because they'd forced those two healing flasks. I don't think that was the wrong decision, by the way. I would have made that same decision if I was the Samuel in his position. I would have said, okay, they are like 20% HP. I just forced the healing flasks out of them. I am hitting them really hard with my spellfire right now. Why not try and make the invade happen? The problem was he got stolen away by a single heliogenesis, and in the meantime their own CP buff got cleared out by this Tony and Blackfeather roaming combo, so they came out worse. Even though they put all of that work in lane, Humanist, they actually end up coming out worse.
Well, that's what separates the top players from the almost top players. You know, it's a problem. Like, I think a lot of players suffer from. You do so much work, put in so much work, and then you just throw it all away. Now, it's, oh my goodness, the pull back into the get wrecked kid. Aver won. Can he tank this up? Yeah, he will be able to. I mean, that's 4 heroes from Fyrn in mid. They needed to get a kill. They got the kill onto Nice Atlas, which was the most important kill for them. So it could have been better, but still, nice rotation.
Absolutely, and the pull straight into the Blackfeather execute has allowed this Blackfeather to get a bit of extra gold in his pocket. He's the one carry that you have to worry about. Oh, so close. I mean, that could have very easily been a steal, but Blackfeather's found the Adagio.
Yusuf's dead. You're done. You're done. Go for more. They're pulling the trigger onto the gauntlet. Vainglory. Wow, that was pretty cute, huh?
That's the anchor ultimate, mate. It's a pretty solid ability for escaping those kind of situations, and Vainglory is very happy to just jump out. But again, he's under-leveled compared to the Blackfeather. He doesn't have the damage output right now because he's playing in that jungle role. That's the silence coming through, though.
Yeah, that was on to 4. I think he even tried to get the block off during that. Glader! My goodness, does he think he's at like the high school dance here? Just dancing all over these kids. That's gonna be Attendix finding another kill as Fyrn are up 6-1. And dude, you know, as we started to get into like the meat of game 2, it felt like Fyrn was playing as a different team, and they might have just had game 1 jitters because these guys are playing strong.
Oh, dude, it definitely feels that way. Having a look at them now, they found a composition that suits them, and I really don't think what Anadoluk brought to the table even shines a light to try to deal with it. I mean, Anchor, when she's behind, feels kind of useless. She's hit her item spike of the Shatterglass now, but that might be a little too late. I mean, you're already seeing Celeste get past level 8. She's hit her power spike already. You're a little bit behind that. And the Blackfeather popping off, it doesn't feel like they've got an answer for it. Like a Catherine stun, a Adagio ultimate, which is easier to dodge than like a granny on a scooter. Like what are you actually offering?
I don't know, mate. Oh, this will be Catherine walking right into Attendix's stun, taunted back. Come over here, little trash talk. And that'll be another kill as Fyrn, Skulblaka go up 7-1, 9 minutes in. They're gonna push the T2 turret in the top lane as well. I guess
they can keep going. I would just keep going. Go
into the game right now. Just put Anadoluk out of their misery. This is right.
This is some really good committing here. I love this. It's going to force them back from that mid lane tier 1 that they were trying to take. Arden clearing it with the Storm Crown. They're going to get an armory turret. Oh, baby.
I like this. I like this. Man, the top teams in EU better be taking some notes on what's going on here. Now a little bada boom, a pull back. Catherine getting chunked down, held in place. Core collapse will not connect. The Helios are there, ready to go supernova. And with that, Fyrn will go ahead and just back out. I don't think they get caught here. It's gonna get turned around the other way. Dorn's even pulling the trigger on a gauntlet. The block's there, and Adagio will be able to wiggle his way out of that one. Fyrn pull up for the teleports out. Saphira covering their back. and Fyrn, like, an incredible push.
Oh, dude, that's so much global gold they have just put in their back pockets. They've now got a 4.5k gold lead. The Ghostwing just about to come onto the map as well. They're chasing down that weapon-powered Sky. She's going to surely go down here.
Do you even need to play-by-play this one? That one's done. You're done.
Yeah.
You're a weapon-powered Sky, and you're not snowballing in the enemy team, and you allowed a Tony plus Arden to engage on you. You know, well,
Yeah.
it's like 99% of all of those engages are going to go that way.
I mean, I stopped for a second because it looked like she was about to start kiting the Tony away, but she did end up going down. And this should be an easy Ghostwing, although with Blackfeather not in the vicinity, they will have to be a little bit more careful. Samuel can be quite devastating at these types of events.
See what's going to happen. Samuel drops into the Drifting Dark. Ghostwing will be captured up by Fyrn. Glader's already in. He's stunned up for a second. Rose Offensive's deep into the fight. Mortal Wound's actually on this Blackfeather. It's about as good as they could hope for, but Glader, look at him building up 17 breaking point stacks. He'll take a double kill, looking for more. Bada boom, knocks him almost into the Solar Storm kill there. And it looks like they'll be happy with that. They'll take 2, go ahead and back out of there. And you can just see, like, Anadoluk can't take this Blackfeather down.
No, I mean, with the Arden Gauntlet on as well, he's already picked up capacitor plates. So that's going to make his Vanguard, sorry. His Vanguard's going to be even stronger. Imagine when he actually gets a lot of health sitting behind him as well. I mean, this Blackfeather will be almost impossible to kill. He's picked up the Shiver Steel. He did this last game, by the way. The Shiver Steel is an interesting item against high mobility carries because obviously it slows down their movement speed. He used it against the Vox, which made it very hard for the Vox to kite. I imagine it's going to have that same effect against the Sky. Not even imagine. I know it's going to have that same effect versus the Sky. Really important to make sure that you keep that Sky as slow as physically possible. You don't want her to build up the same breaking point stacks as she kites away.
Yeah, it does feel like this is a rough game. It's just a hard to execute game for the Sky. It's like, is there a potential? I've been critical of the pick in this game. Is there a potential for it to do something? Yes, there's potential. It's just hard to do. And like, you're gonna have to make some crazy plays. Now, in mid, Gauntlet's down. Samuel, he's down into the dirt as well. Aver 1 looks like he's trying to play a bit of a distraction game here. Tony's deep, and also Attendix chasing forward here. Bada Boom will push Vainglorious back into the jaws of Attendix, and he'll be able to get that kill. There's no chance in hell that Fyrn are going to lose anybody here. They're going to go for another turret push. Yusuf winds up for the verse. A desperation verse, one might say. It's the turret falls. Sky, weapon Sky, just dropping death from above from max range, because that's literally all Devoe can do.
This looks like this is going to be game over. I think Fyrn have pretty much put themselves in that driving position. They're going to head towards the Black Claw with Glader heading towards bot to deal with that big wave. Now, you've got to be very careful you don't bait them into Black Claw and end up in a 4 versus 5. That's the last thing you want in this situation. Lots of armor now picked up because Glader was actually getting chunked a little bit by Devoe in that last fight. But right now, doesn't feel like there's much that the side of Anadoluk Gaming can actually do here as Glader looks for a flank.
This would be so nice for him if he find back fight. Core Collapse will come through, but the blocks were already there. Vainglory is trying to dip out, bursted down in the very beginning of this fight, and this could be the beginning of, well, no, this could just be the end, honestly, here, if it's Fyrn plays this one correctly. They'll find the taunt into 3 plus the kill onto Adagio. Catherine's low. Sky surreys into her own demise as the triple kill comes through. Tony just jumping in with the jawbreaker, but nice Atlas with nice put 2 kills on the board. Anadoluk Gaming goes down as the quadra kill comes through for the Blackfeather. That will be the ace. 14 minutes and 19 kills in 14 minutes. How you doing?
And they could have ended the game. I mean, they could have even gone for armories, but they just want to play it safe. I mean, that was a fight that actually, if you go back and look at that fight or think about how it was, that was probably one of the best fights that we've seen Anadoluk Gaming come up with. They had a lot of low health bars on Fyrn. Although the Fountain hadn't been used, they had a lot of good kiting potential there, but Glader was the one that was still healthy, and that is the guy that you've got to be worried about. He's the guy that is going to start to wail on your backline. So it's all very well getting the Tony, even the Celeste, the Arden, and the Finlow, but if the Blackfeather is still healthy, and the Blackfeather still has those breaking point stats building up like a monster, he's the guy that's going to ruin your day. And that's the problem they don't have to deal with. Who actually, like we said right at the start here, Humanist, who actually deals with Blackfeather in this composition? I think Weapon Power Sky can do well against Blackfeather. but not when you've built a composition that is useless for her. No one in this composition does well for Weapon Power Sky.
Like, yeah, I mean, I think the Weapon Power Sky, hold that, because Blackfeather is about to go get him some! Who are you gonna go for? Vainglory? Is that the target? Ooh, that's some damage! Rose Vincent over the top, they'll go on to Adagio, verse comes out, does not matter, almost like he wasn't even there, almost like just like a buffed up lane minion. And yeah, dude, honestly, the only way the Sky was gonna have an impact in this game is if Blackfeather lost his lane and Sky simultaneously crushed her lane.
I think that's very, very likely, and the problem is, it's just it goes down to draft. Like, you have a Weapon Power Sky here. The only person that remotely gives Weapon Power Sky the ability to kite backwards, especially against the Blackfeather, is an Adagio. And that's a very slim advantage that you're giving her. You really want Weapon Power Sky to be paired with something like the Arden, so it was clever drafting to give the Arden Arden early on over to this Blackfeather to make sure that he had that combo and the Sky didn't. Because if the Sky did have the Blackfeather, the Sky did have the Arden, this would be much easier for her to execute in these team fights, but she doesn't. She's got nothing that helps her. Nothing that stops the Blackfeather, nothing to peel for her, nothing to increase her movement speed or give her some way to get out of the fight.
Yeah, it's just like, Adagio, save me! Pull comes through, Vainglorious pull back, Anka able to go ahead and avoid that, using her ultimate reposition there, but Glader's in deep. Glader, he's really going hard in the paint here. Devo, isolated and will be destroyed with no mercy as Fyrn Skulblaka, you guys better remember this name, move on in. They'll close this one out. 2 armories down onto the Vein Crystal, and these guys will take the victory in game 3, just shy of 17 minutes, with a kill score of 22-2. Oh my goodness.
I think we